Nintendo stuff extra.
That looks beautiful. Look at that. Wow. I'm sorry I talked over you, but that was so impressive. Can we talk about how impressive that is? You got like the slider, your names and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, we've made some updates since last time.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. You're welcome.
So, separated by Cosmic Cabinets, Brandon Logan and special guest RogersBase are here talking their E3 Nintendo predictions on today's 42nd episode of Nintendo Stuff. Wow. Been at this for a while.
Yeah, we were talking the other day how we're getting like close to like 100 like podcasts, and like that's kind of a feat in and of itself. So pretty proud.
You should be. You should be. We were just talking off camera, by the way, people. They were making fun of their subscriber count. They were going, oh, you know, us and our 1,500 subs. And I was like, no. I remember the last time I was on this channel, you guys were at 300 subscribers, and now you're at 1,500. That's an amazing feat. You got to be proud of yourselves. Don't undersell yourselves. Seriously, one of the best YouTube channels that's out there right now that does like Nintendo stuff. I love it.
Oh, baby.
So, thank you.
That's a lot. That's hitting hard.
I know.
Oh, no. I'm going to start breaking down in the middle of the discussion. Just not.
See, I waited until the discussion started so you couldn't cry.
You're inflating my ego. That's a dangerous thing. So, Nintendo 2019. This is a pretty exciting year for Nintendo at E3. We have... can we talk about how many games we already know about going into this? We've got Cuphead. We've got Animal Crossing on the way. We've got Luigi's Mansion 3, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Bayonetta 3, which is somewhere coming out soon. What else is there? I have more.
Pokemon Sword and Shield?
Sword and Shield, thank you. Link's Awakening.
The Game Freak RPG, Link's Awakening, the new Monolith Soft IP that nobody's talking about, Astral Chain, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which that game wouldn't even exist if not for Nintendo, Cadence of Hyrule. Dude, it's like non-stop stuff, man.
Yeah, this is
where's Pikmin 4?
Big year.
Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Don't you worry about a thing.
So I guess to get things started, we should probably talk about the things that we're expecting to see at E3, and I think we may have listed the majority of them just now.
Well, I would take one out of what you said, because you mentioned Bayonetta 3, and I think there's not going to be anything Bayonetta 3 here at all. I think Platinum's big focus is Astral Chain, and it's really clear from Nintendo that they are really pushing that. And I've heard also from some people who would know that Astral Chain really is their focus for this year. So I don't think we're going to get anything Bayonetta 3. That's not to say we might not get a trailer, but I wouldn't expect Bayonetta 3 to be this year. I think that's probably. And
I'll say for myself that I'm actually more excited for Astral Chain than I am for Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, me too.
I may be in part because I haven't really played the first two, but also from an aesthetic standpoint, like I love what I'm looking at. It's just super pretty.
And there's also the fact that we've actually seen Astral Chain. We know what we're getting into. It's a fresh game. So Bayonetta 3 is still a big question mark.
Of the other ones you mentioned, though, I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is a given. I think Pokemon Sword and Shield's a given. I don't think we're going to get a lot of new details during the Nintendo Direct for Sword and Shield, though. I have a theory that there's going to be a Pokemon Direct prior to the Nintendo Direct, like just a couple days prior, because they've done that in the past. And I think that's where we're really going to get the information, and then we're just going to get sort of like a quick trailer during the Direct. I could be wrong, but normally Pokemon Company likes to do their own thing, and for it being such a packed year, I think Nintendo is really going to want to focus on stuff like Animal Crossing and other things that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Also, Mario Maker 2, we'll probably get some more stuff for that because that'll come out in a couple weeks after E3. So,
and I guess we'll just jump right into Mario Maker 2 because I'm of the opinion that if we hear really anything, the majority of it will be during the World Championship, because Mario has a history, specifically like with the Wizard and Super Mario Brothers 3, that being revealed to Western audiences through that movie. Then with Nintendo World Championships in 2015, we got like the big finale with Super Mario Maker. I think that's going to happen again with Mario Maker 2. But what they're going to do is they're going to finish the competition with the top two players playing in a brand new game style.
I completely agree because in that Direct for Mario Maker 2, they had like the extra play styles and there was 3D World and then an empty space. Completely agree with you. I think we might see that during the Nintendo World Championships. And that seems like the other would happen there. So
now the other question I have for that is like, are we going to see that at launch, or is that going to be a tease that they're going to just drop that like later on and have this be like more of just, again, like the pattern has been, let's treat these games as services, so let's hold back some content that's not quite finished. and then just kind of dole it out, a little bit over time, adding new, little pieces here and there.
I think it'll be at launch. I think it'll be at launch. Yeah, I really do, because I feel like that's something that they're going to want to hold on to a couple surprises right before launch. And they didn't want to reveal everything during that Mario Maker 2 Direct. And I mean, they revealed so much during that as somebody that isn't really a huge fan of like the 2D Mario games, but is somebody who really liked the first Mario Maker, I'm stoked. I think all the new features are amazing. The slopes, having the the online multiplayer stuff is really cool. Everything about it, I love it. The Angry Sun's coming back. I'm a fan of that.
I honestly too, like, I'd be shocked if they didn't have a new game style to show us and also have it launch, because I mean, there's that deliberate menu in there where we see that empty space, like you said, and it says new game styles, which is plural. Right. I think that'd be a huge misstep for Nintendo to show us that in there without actually having anything to say.
Yep.
I agree. That's like shooting your own foot. So that's not the only tournament taking place on June 8th, because we also have the Splatoon 2 World Championship 2019 and the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate World Championship 2019. And I want to start with Splatoon. I know we're done with DLC for that game, but we have a couple more Splatfests left. Do you think there will be any news or announcements during that at all?
Maybe a Splatfest. I mean, maybe some cool like crossover Splatfest announcement, but I really don't think we are getting any more updates for Splatoon 2 beyond that. I feel like Splatoon 2 is kind of done now, and I wouldn't even be surprised if in a couple of years we get Splatoon 3. So
yeah, I mean, we kind of I was only anticipating so much, they kind of set the stage for what we were getting for Splatoon 2, and then they were like, actually, here's a little bit extra. So I'm not confident that they would be like, oh yeah, here's even more. Like, my guess would be that a large portion of that team has already moved on to, riding out, getting Splatoon 3 ready, and what are they going to do next with that,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement, even though I think in Inkopolis Square, excuse me, in Splatoon 2, like, if you look behind you where you spawn, there's a building way out in the distance that has a poster on it that says 2019, the number 7, and I think one other number, and it's been there since the game came out. And there was early speculation that something might happen in July 2019. We're getting close to that. That's the last month of Splatfest for Splatoon 2, by the way.
That'd be cool. Like some giant final Splatfest. I'd like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, didn't they do that with the first game where they had this final Splatfest, and it was like Marie and Callie, and then it kind of set the stage for what Splatoon 2 was doing?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they did the same thing.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before, but I'm
Team
surprised.
Marina. I mean, I don't think anyone's Team Pearl anymore, right?
I think
we're all Team Marina.
I don't think it's going to be Pearl versus Marina. I think it's going to be
it should be. I'm voting Marina.
I think it's Squid Sisters versus Off the Hook.
Oh, I'm voting for Off the Hook then.
Oh yeah, that's an easy choice.
Have they done Octolings versus
yes,
like Inklings? Okay.
They did that when Octolings first came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they also have the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate World Championship 2019, and I would not be surprised to see some kind of character tease there.
I disagree. I think everybody said that last year. When the Ultimate thing happened, everybody was like, oh, we're going to get a character announcement during this. I was there. I was physically there in the little cool private VIP room that Nintendo had set up for the brand ambassadors. And the talk of the whole thing was, oh my God, what are they going to show? They're going to show something. What's the character? Then Sakurai came out at the very end, and what happened? Nothing. So I feel like we're going to get the same thing here. People are going to be like, where was the character? And then I think something's going to happen on the day of the Direct that we'll talk about a little bit later on in this discussion.
Okay. See, I'm not sure on this one, because in my mind, like, if Nintendo is going to have a focus on some other game during their E3, like they've kind of done with the last couple of years, would Smash Brothers take away from that at all? Would the talk of a character overshadow that?
No, because it's not a new game. It's just a new character. I think if it was a new Smash game, then yes. But I really don't think no.
Okay. See, that was kind of the only thing that had me like teetering. Well, they could talk about it just to keep them kind of separate, but you never know.
Yeah.
So getting into the actual E3 presentation, we talked about what we already know is coming, but but do we have any other information about that kind of stuff? Is there anything for any games we know about that you think we could hear?
Let me think.
I think we'll get something for Fire Emblem, certainly. Like we got that, we got a little bit, kind of like an overview. This is what it looks like. This is how pretty it is. But like, is there something else that we're gonna? And I don't think it'll be like a lot, but I think it'll be something. It'll be like, here's a reminder: this game comes out in the month and a half, and we are gonna push this. And obviously, I think looks like the most ambitious Fire Emblem game to date.
Great. Yeah. I mean, currently it's my most anticipated game of the year right now. I mean that genuinely. I love the Fire Emblem franchise. I know some people have had their issues with Fates and Awakening, but I genuinely love Fire Emblem more now than I've ever loved it before. I cannot wait to play through Three Houses. It's going to be so good.
I've been playing since the GBA release. And my buddy had an SP in that game, and that game was just, is burned into my mind. And so I never actually finished Awakening. I didn't play Fates, but this game, I'm like, I'm so excited for it. Yeah.
You never played Fates with best girl Camilla? You're crazy, man. I
didn't finish Awakening, and I was like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna finish Awakening first and then go to Fates, But who knows if there's so many games.
Yeah,
I think it's never ending.
The one thing that I don't want people to get too upset about, if it doesn't end up being as much information as we'd like, is Animal Crossing, because everything else, like going into this E3, we've seen stuff for, like Mario Maker, Astral Chain, Fire Emblem, everything, all the big games, Luigi's Mansion even, but we haven't seen anything about Animal Crossing. And I think everybody's hoping that it's going to be the big blowout year for Animal Crossing, and I agree, it's going to have to be there. There's going to be a trailer or gameplay or something. Yeah. But I don't know if it's really going to have as much of a focus during the Direct or during the rest of E3 even as people are expecting. I think people are expecting it to get as much focus as like Link's Awakening or Fire Emblem or something, and I really feel like there's going to be a separate Animal Crossing kind of Direct later in the year if that game doesn't get pushed out of 2019. Because I know the fiscal release says it's still a 2019 game, even though Bayonetta 3 says TBA and everything else. But part of me feels like maybe that game is going to get delayed until like February.
Well, I'm glad it's only a feeling, because I absolutely feel the opposite way. And
I want to feel the opposite way, believe me.
Obviously.
I've been to enough E3. I mean, Animal Crossing is legit one of my favorite franchises of all time. It's Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing, Pokemon, Fire Emblem. Like, I love Animal Crossing. So I want it to be the focus of the show, but I don't want to hype myself up too much, because if it's not, I feel like there's going to be massive disappointments.
I just feel like it's been so long, and we're at this point where it's like, I feel like I'm at a breaking point. Like, how many years in between? Like, it was 2012 that a New Leaf was released.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's when they say 2019, they're like, yeah, no, this is no problem.
I hope
especially
you're right,
with how they've been treating things. Like, if things get delayed, it's not like an amazing amount of time. It's a handful of months, for the most part.
And think back to that initial announcement too, because you remember they first teased it with the Isabelle reveal, and they just kept going with it until we finally got that Tom Nook segment, which was long on its own, just to get a splash screen that said Animal Crossing 2019. If they weren't confident about that, that's a misstep.
Yeah, what I really want is, I want the blowout, and then I want it to be the August game. We have the June game, we have the July game. We need an August game, and I want that to be Animal Crossing so bad.
I would not hold your breath for that, buddy. I feel like there's going to be, if you look at all the other games that are coming out that we already know about, I feel like, honestly, I don't want to give away my predictions though. So I won't say anything yet.
He's holding his tongue.
I will hold my tongue.
So I want to mention Pokemon Sword and Shield really quick. You did say earlier, Roger, that you think Game Freak and the Pokemon Company will do their own thing. I do agree with you, because they've always done it that way. That said, I do think we'll, at the very least, probably see the legendaries for both Sword and Shield, and maybe just a very short CGI trailer and move on.
Yeah. I think the legendaries, I think we will absolutely see the legendaries. I think we'll probably see the Rattata and the Pidgey. And like the Caterpie or whatever, because that's what we saw for Sun and Moon during E3. We got Grubbin, and then what were the Donald Trump Weasel, and I don't remember their names.
I
What was like the
I can't
what was the
remember
name of
them
the
either.
bird? It's like Picky Peck or something, right? Picky
You
Peck.
pick a peck.
There you go. There you go. Pick a peck, Donald Trump and Grubbin. So yeah.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, so I think Pokemon's gonna just be a short thing, and we're gonna move on.
Yeah. I think it'll be a big focus on the show floor though, because
Absolutely.
last year the whole show floor was like Smash Brothers, and then there was like a giant portion dedicated to Let's Go, like a huge section of the booth. And I think it'll probably be the same this year with like a demo of Sword and Shield, maybe just through the opening town or something, or the first gym.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up with a, not during E3, but later on in the year, like a special demo for Sword and Shield, because that's been a theme with Pokemon games in the last few years.
Yeah.
See, that'll be the thing that sells me. Because, like, you know, Brandon knows my experience with the last few Pokemon generations.
Pretty well, actually.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like, I was excited, like, oh, we're finally going full 3D with X and Y. Didn't finish the game. Oh, finally, they got rid of the grid system. Like, this is amazing. They're finally casting off all this legacy shit, you know? And I'm like, finally. And then I didn't finish Sun. You know? I'm like, I mean,
to be fair, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, in my opinion, and Oris, which is the remake of Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, I would say are probably the two weakest games in the entire Pokemon franchise. And I say that like full stop. I feel like Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon ruined the story of the original Sun and Moon. It made Lusamine into this like nobody character. They added all this dumb dimension twisting stuff that didn't need to be there, made it overcomplicated with the Oris stuff. Anybody who says the Zinnia missions were great, get your head checked. All right, Zinnia was fine. The music was fine, but like it wasn't revolutionary. The remakes of some of the towns in Oris, the remakes of the music, terrible. Like terrible. The Steven Stone remix is good. I'll give it that. But yeah, I feel like Oris and Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon were huge missteps. And I feel like Let's Go took it in the right direction. I think Let's Go was different enough. It remade a region of the game that needed to be remade. And I have high hopes for Sword and Shield. I know it's controversial. You can finally finish it.
I know it's controversial amongst Pokemon fans, but I gotta be honest, I think Let's Go was like my favorite Pokemon experience in like the last 10 years.
You're not wrong.
I loved that game.
It was great. I know. It was really fun.
You know what I would recommend with Ultra Sun and Moon is they just remake it right off the bat. They should just like, you know, just nuke the world and then just write that into the lore of the remake, you know.
But see, it's so funny because I remember some people, you know, very short-term memory, but I remember when the NX was first announced and everybody was saying, you know, what are going to be the games in the first year? Every single YouTube channel, rumor monger website, everywhere said Pokemon Stars. HD version of Sun and Moon coming. Yeah. Third version for NX, Nintendo NX, gonna launch with Pokemon Stars. That was the whole big thing. And we never got Stars. We got Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It was on 3DS. Everybody was just making that up. So
it's that confirmation bias. They just wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
Also,
exactly.
It's a little silly that people would be guessing that, oh, here's the third game, right? Because in the last few generations, it's been okay. It's been here's two. Here's the sequel to here's right. Black and White 2. Right. Here's Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Yeah. Did we even get anything for X and Y?
No,
they just kind of skipped over.
They didn't care.
Like,
they were like,
going to Sun
people were thinking we were going to get Z with Zygarde, and then that just never happened.
The anime got Z.
If anything, it would be Pokemon XX and XY. That's what it would be.
There you go.
So another game that we know is coming and will probably be at E3 is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. And the reason I bring that up is because I think they're going to, this is a prediction for me, by the way, I think they're going to reveal a multiplayer mode.
Oh my God, stealing one of my predictions. Come on. Dude. So I don't know if the video is up yet, but I did a video with Commonwealth Realm. And me, Commonwealth, and Joey, Conrad and Joey, all said that there's going to be a reveal of multiplayer in some type of multiplayer, either like Four Swords, a new sort of like standalone thing, or we're going to get multiplayer Link's Awakening. Dude, I am 100% there with you.
Yeah.
I don't think in 2019 they can repackage just a Game Boy Color game and say, all right, here we go, it looks nice, and sell it for $60. There's going to be needing something else. I completely agree with you. There's going to be multiplayer.
I think there's precedence for that in some of those 3DS remakes of Mario and Luigi too, like adding that extra content.
Oh
So
yeah,
I would not be surprised if they were like, okay, let's do something extra.
And Aonuma has been forward about wanting to integrate multiplayer into Zelda going forward.
Yeah, and it also is crazy to me because we have a system that is perfect for local multiplayer with the Switch. You literally just kick out the kickstand, grab your controllers, and start playing with each other. So to me, the idea that there hasn't been a Four Swords game is crazy. I feel like, and I also feel like it shouldn't just be a standalone multiplayer game because we all know how Triforce Heroes turned out. So I feel like it needs to be a balance. We have to have a good single player. Link's Awakening is an excellent single player. And then you have that multiplayer, Four Swords, whatever type mode, or something else that adds co-op to the game or something, but there will be a multiplayer aspect. Very nice.
Have we had multiplayer other than like a multiplayer exclusive Zelda game, like actually in a single player game? Like has that happened yet?
Yeah, so the very first Four Sword, it came packed in with Link to the Past on Game Boy Advance. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a 2-in-1 card.
Yep.
And they were doing that a lot back in the Game Boy Advance days with games.
And actually, I remember, I don't think this ever came out in America, but Tetris Trackers, do you remember this?
Yeah,
that
was the third...
That was like supposed to be, it was supposed to be connected with Wind Waker or something?
It was the...
Right?
So we got Four Swords Adventures on GameCube here in the States, and that had the main adventure mode for 4 players. It had a versus mode, and in Japan, it had Tetris Trackers as the third game mode.
That's it. Yeah. Because that was originally supposed to be a standalone game, wasn't it?
When it was first revealed, it was, Yeah.
I
remember that. I have that issue of Nintendo Power when they talked about it in there, and it never came out here.
Never came out, no.
And I think the reason was because they used like a voice synthesizer for Tetris. She would actually say player names. So you could make your own name, and it could only be 2 Japanese characters long, so like 2 vowels, and they couldn't do that for like English words.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
So if we get like a side mode or something like that to go along with Link's Awakening, I think that'd be perfect. And you mentioned the Switch and multiplayer. In addition to that on a single screen, like you remember Four Swords Adventures, and one of the big hooks for that was plugging your Game Boy Advance into the GameCube and having your own screen. If you just have 4 people with a Switch, either local or online, you can do the exact same thing.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, if the local multiplayer actually works.
I think it will. Four Swords Adventures is really fun.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, from what I've heard, and I haven't played a lot of like local, like just over Wi-Fi or something like that with like multiple Switches, but from what I've heard, it's kind of shoddy.
Because what I was going to mention is it seems to be like there's a resurgence of that GBA multiplayer type stuff on Switch because the GBA GameCube thing, we had Pac-Man Versus. We had Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and we had Four Swords. If Link's Awakening has a Four Swords type mode, and we're getting Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles remastered on Switch that got announced last E3, or it was like last October or something, and we already have Pac-Man Versus as part of Namco Museum, all of those GBA GameCube games would be on the Switch. And it makes sense. It makes sense because, like you said, you already have the screen. You don't need additional screens. They're all right there. You just use your Switch as the controller.
Yeah, it's the perfect opportunity to reintroduce that entire gameplay concept.
Yep.
And let's see. We mentioned No Bandit 3. Luigi's Mansion 3. So I do have a prediction for this too. And I think a lot of people are thinking this. And it's also the same thing I said for Zelda. And I think there's going to be multiplayer.
Okay.
Not like...
You think there's going to be multiplayer of Luigi's Mansion?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like adventure mode multiplayer. I think it's going to be like the tower mode that was in Dark Moon.
Interesting. Okay.
And you can play as Gooigi?
Gooigi, yeah.
If I'm being completely honest, if there was going to be a multiplayer component, I would love for them to just bring back the Nintendo Land minigame because that was so much fun.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't have my Wii U anymore, so... Sorry, Nintendo Land. But...
That's like the only reason I'd bring my Wii U out these days is to play Nintendo Land.
Yeah.
Everything's been replaced or surpassed, by a sequel.
Yep.
And then I say obviously, but I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is probably the October game. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think it has to be the Halloween game, right?
Yeah.
It's got to
make sense.
Yeah.
So that covers like all the things that we were pretty much expecting to see at E3 with a couple other predictions sprinkled in. But Roger, I'm going to throw it to you. what is one of your other predictions?
I've been waiting for this. I have been waiting for this.
Been burning.
All right, so this is something I actually think we're going to see before the Nintendo Direct on Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right? I think we're going to see this on Monday. And my prediction is, you were mentioning earlier, Animal Crossing's got to be the August game. Well, I did a little bit of research just while I was sitting here, and I pulled it up, and a certain game came out on August 29th last year for Nintendo Switch. Everybody loved it unanimously, unbelievably, considering the game, when it first got announced, everybody was like, this is going to be a steaming pile of doo-doo cheeks. But I think we're going to get announced during the Ubisoft conference, Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle 2. And I think it's going to come out this year, and I think it's going to be August. And the reason I say that is because the team already has mentioned that they're working on a new project. Everybody works on that team. The guy who's the director, the composer, everything. Mm-hmm. They already have a game engine in place. They are known for churning out sequels in the same game engine. Okay, everybody liked Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle. They already did the Donkey Kong DLC. And I think the idea of having Wario, like a rabbit that says "wah" that looks like Wario. There's no way they're not going to do that. I honestly, truly believe we're getting Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle 2 announced at the Ubisoft conference. Is going to come out this year, probably around August, maybe around the same time Kingdom Battle 1 did. And I think Wario is going to play a really big role in it. Boom, mic drop.
That was way more than I was expecting.
That's it. You invited me on. I don't play, man. This is it.
See,
that's why we invited you on.
I know.
See, Logan and I were talking about Ubisoft as well, and we were also pretty sure that they were going to have some Nintendo something. We were leaning a little bit more into the Star Fox territory. I never quite considered the option for a sequel to Kingdom Battle, but I'd be down with that.
Because that game sold very well. And if you look at this year's release schedule, we have Mario Maker 2 in summer, but traditionally there is a Mario-led game like for the holidays or like in the late summer. And obviously Mario Maker 2 can carry them through the holidays, but I feel like they're going to want something that doesn't just cater to that, that mainline platform Mario type thing. And I don't necessarily think we're going to get a new Mario sports game this year just because we just got Mario Tennis Aces.
True.
So I feel like we're probably going to get a Kingdom Battle sequel and then maybe get announced like a Mario Strikers or something like that. But I don't even think that'll be this year. I think the big August game, I feel very confident, is going to be a Kingdom Battle sequel.
Okay.
That's my big prediction.
Well, I'm glad you feel so confidently about it because I don't feel confidently about it. Because, Nintendo's just so erratic sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's so many rumors that go around too. Like, there's still a part of me that wants Star Fox Grand Prix to be a thing, but I'm definitely not confident about that one just because of
Hey, we had the Star Fox racing mode in Starlink, so
there's Star Fox Grand Prix. That's what it was. Maybe.
Yeah, can Ubisoft just make a Star Fox game at this point?
Honestly, I would be happy with that, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to. I think they would be great. I think it'd be great. I feel like Mario & Rabbids did so well for them, and I think they tried something different with Starlink, and I don't know what the sales numbers were for it, but I know it wasn't to the level of Mario & Rabbids sales. And I think if they already have a game engine in place and Mario sells, and they all liked it, they all liked making it, you could tell the developers, it really meant a lot to them. They're crying when Miyamoto came on stage. I feel like they're going to want to make another one. And I think people want another one. I don't know if either of you played it, but Mario & Rabbids, I didn't play it until way later because that year was packed with games. And then I played that early this year. I got the chance to play through it. And man, that game is so good. Everything about that game is so good. The music and the story is even interesting. They made the Rabbids funny, which I thought was impossible. So...
Well, I mean, I just lost my thought. Whatever.
That's okay.
But I certainly enjoyed it. The gameplay's fantastic. It's got a lot of personality, as you're saying. The Rabbids are actually legitimately funny. And I certainly think it would be a safe bet at this point. And commenting on Starlink really quick. I think one of the reasons that didn't do so well is because it wasn't They put Star Fox in it, and then everybody was like, okay, I'm buying the Switch version. Everybody wanted to be a Star Fox game. Yeah. At a certain point, Ubisoft was like, I guess we're just going to make this a Star Fox game, and that's what we're going to push it with, Yeah. And so whatever success they had with the game, it's it's on the Switch, and it's because of Star Fox. So I think that shows there's a desire. There's a desire for more Star Fox. Yeah. And I hope they pick that up because it seems like they just kind of throw it around at this point. Oh, people want it. We're just gonna we're doing Starfox Zero, and it's just
here's
more
what
of the
I want.
same.
Here's all that I want. And this is technically more of the same, but I don't care. This is what I want. I genuinely want them to give it back to Bandai Namco because I think they did such a good job with Assault. Assault had issues. That game is not a perfect game, but that, in my opinion, is the best Star Fox game after Star Fox 64.
Oh, and the multiplayer is like kind of a mess, but it's so much fun.
No, it's fun. It's super fun. It's a mess, but it's fun. The soundtrack is incredible. Like all those big bombastic orchestral Star Fox themes you hear in Smash Brothers came from the Star Fox Assault soundtrack. It was a fun arcadey type game, and I think that's what they need. They need like the fun soap opera stuff. They don't need to keep rebooting the series. We don't need these interesting control schemes. We don't need it. All right. I don't care who defends it online. I don't care how many people are like, well, if you put 30 hours into it, it's good. No, it's not. The control scheme in Star Fox Zero is not good. Why are you defending it? There's no reason to defend it. I've said this to Nintendo's face before. I've said this I'm a brand ambassador, and I've told them. I made a joke on stream with JC when he came over and was playing Smash Bros. With me. I made a joke about Star Fox Zero. They know, all right? It was a misstep. Nobody needs to defend Star Fox Zero anymore, all right? The game was not good. Just like, stop. Stop it. It's time to stop.
It doesn't tie into your personal worth. You don't have to internalize it.
No, you don't.
Okay.
It's a Star Fox game. You're fine, man.
It's also okay if you like it.
Of course.
You don't have to defend it. You can say yeah, it kind of sucks, but like I'm into it. It's like I like Dead Island. Dead Island's not a good game.
Dude, there you go. Exactly.
I like Star Fox Zero for all of 15 hours and then never played it again.
I'll tell you one good thing about Star Fox Zero so people don't think that I'm like just being mean on this show. I will say this. I liked the final Star Wolf battle on the planet where like it was the Mario Galaxy planet and you're flying around in orbit.
That was really good.
And you're attacking Wolf. That was really good. But guess what was good about that? The fact that it had a fixed camera. The fact that I wasn't doing this the whole time going, oh, I have to switch between things. None of that stuff. That wasn't there. It was just a planet you're flying around and you're attacking Wolf, and it was fun.
Personally, I love inconvenient control schemes. Like they're kind of my thing.
So you're saying you want a new Kid Icarus Uprising is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, but I think we should use like 2 styluses. And also you need 2 switches to play it properly.
There you go.
And also, by the way, to anybody who thinks it's a slight listening right now, that is not a slight. I love Kid Icarus Uprising. And Sakurai, Daddy Sakurai, I would be very happy for another Kid Icarus. So.
Everyone in our Discord server knows how I feel about that game.
Oh, do you not like it?
I love that game.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Oh,
yeah,
you're in good company.
Where is our Switch port? Like that's what goes on.
Yeah.
Please. Logan, what do you got going on over there? I know you got some predictions.
Any spicy predictions?
Okay, I will start off with a classic. Okay, and this will.
I know what it is already.
This is a mainstay. This will be here forever. And chances if they ever do it, I will be gravely disappointed. Kind of like how when Breath of the Wild was still like in limbo, like, oh, it's coming out 2016, the 2015 or 2014, whatever. And I was like, okay, this is what they're going to do. And it's like uber ambitious. And like, there's no way that they would actually do it. I'm still waiting for that open world F-Zero game. Like, give it to me now. Like, Nintendo's never going to do it, but I will always predict it because
you're right. Nintendo's not going to do it. A third party company is going to do it.
I'm going to will it into existence. This is why I do it. I am hoping and I'm praying to the universe that this is a thing. And if it's not, I will make it a thing. I will go over to Nintendo. I will just overthrow all of them and just say, this is what we're doing. We're taking all of the studios and we're just making the most incredible open world F-Zero game with incredible racing and so much content, and it'll blow everybody out of the water. And everybody was like, oh yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 is so good. Oh, open world. Red Dead Redemption 2 was so overrated. And this is the one everybody's
waiting for. Spicy tonight. I love this.
Nobody knows they want it, but they want it. They want it. We all want it.
You overrated? Say it again. Say it again for my friends over at Game Attack.
I didn't even finish it. I didn't even finish it. I was like, I'm so sick of this. It's so it got so boring.
Beautiful. I love that. That was beautiful.
So F-Zero's coming, is happening. I'm saying it now. It's like when Andre, was like, oh yeah, we're finally getting Smash. Like, here it is. And then it happened. Like, this is what's happening. That was Andre's responsibility. This is my contribution. You guys can all thank me later.
Here's the thing. I hate to put a damper on this parade because that was honestly beautiful. However, I think if any company was going to do an F-Zero reboot or remake that currently works with Nintendo, I think it's Platinum. And Platinum has 2 games on their hands right now with Astral Chain and Bayonetta. And I truly believe, because Platinum's even said that about Star Fox. Platinum said they wanted to try their hand at Star Fox too. I think if we do get another Star Fox, or if we get another F-Zero, which I hope you just willed it into existence with that beautiful rant, I think it'll be Platinum, and I don't think it'll be this year. But good on you. Good on you for sticking to it. I like that.
Outside of that, I don't like. It's a lot of like I don't know what to expect. I'd love to see some like something return, maybe some like really niche like thing that they haven't touched in a while, even if it's a smaller experience. I anticipate
Speaking of Roger.
Give me that segue.
I'm anticipating something smaller, but like a real gem, you know, because like they've dropped some like indie-esque games. Like I love the Box Boy series. I'm a big puzzle guy. So I'm waiting to see what other smaller thing that I'm just gonna pay $20 for, and just I'm so glad I paid $20, and this is so much more worth it than like a $60 title.
Roger's coming to a boiling point.
You're saying, you know, maybe niche titles we haven't seen in a while, but games that maybe originated on Nintendo DS. You know, I'm thinking of a casual audience, but I'm also thinking of things that have sold very well in the past. This is something I haven't seen anybody talking about, which is mind-boggling to me because this game sold so much on both 3DS and on DS. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this.
I know exactly where you're going.
Okay. I think we're getting, and I mean this genuinely, this is not a troll, people. I mean this genuinely. I think we're going to get the announcement of a new Nintendogs. I really think we're going to get a new Nintendogs. And here's why.
That's not what I thought you were going with.
I second the motion. I want a new Nintendog.
Here's why. There was, earlier this year, there were a lot of people talking about that Pets game that came out on Switch. There was like a third party or indie developer or something that made some type of pet game. It was like dogs and cats or something. And it was on Switch, and it looked pretty bad. And I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but go look up that game. Lots of people were like, man, I really wish there was a Nintendogs. I think Nintendo's listening, and I think if you historically look back at games in the past that have sold very well in handheld systems, and again, you got to remember, Switch is a handheld system.
Right.
Nintendogs on DS, I literally pulled up the IR information just to tell you guys these sales numbers. Nintendogs on the original DS sold 23 million units and was the second best-selling game on the entire system behind New Super Mario Brothers. Nintendogs sold more than Mario Kart DS, Brain Age, and Diamond and Pearl, and Black and White. All those games. So if you look at that, and then you look at 3DS, and you look at that initial year of 3DS, Nintendogs was one of the launch games for 3DS, was for a very long time one of the best-selling games on 3DS, was well past a million seller. I do honestly feel like there is a demand for those type of pet games. And while I don't really feel like it is a huge E3 announcement, this is why when you were saying, I think it's more of like a niche thing for the hardcore, something that originated on DS, something that's a smaller experience, I would not be surprised to see during like a little headline, by the way, we're making a new Nintendogs. Here you go. Comes out this fall. Boom. You have a Nintendogs and a Pokemon game, a brand new generation of Pokemon, plus a Zelda game, plus Animal Crossing. I mean, that's like multiple megaton bombs this holiday season. And I think this is really their holiday season to do it, too, because next year we're going to have PS5 or whatever it's called. Next year we're going to have Xbox Scarlet. All that stuff is going to be next year. So this is Nintendo's chance to shine. PS4, Xbox One, they're dying off. No, it's their last big holiday. Nintendo is the new kid on the block. Nintendo's already selling gangbusters. They're going to need something else that's along the lines of something like an Animal Crossing that appeals to the casual audience that would be, like you said, a smaller experience. And so I think, Logan, we're getting Nintendogs.
Yeah, I think the idea that there's like a really large casual audience, not that there isn't the core audience as well. I mean, I think it's pretty healthy on both ends, but certainly like look at how much this is selling. And Nintendogs isn't a game that necessarily will sell consoles, but for people who already have the consoles and there's already so many other things, that's like, oh my gosh, that just seems really casual and fun. And then also it makes sense. Like, okay, I'm popping out my Switch for like a short amount of time. I'm petting my dogs. I'm doing so my other question with that, if that is the case, we got Nintendogs. We got Nintendogs plus cats.
Right.
What is it going to be? What's going to be? Are we just going to add more animals, or is it going to just be like, are they going to expand the experience? You know, is it going to be Nintendogs plus cats plus buns?
I mean, that'd be funny if they added bunnies or little pet pigs or something. I'd be down for that. I've been saying I've been on that Nintendogs bandwagon for a long time. I want Nintendogs and pigs. I really want that really badly. I know we're not getting Nintendogs. I want it, but we're not getting it. So I think we are going to get dogs and cats making a return, but I think the focus is really going to be on just like beautiful graphics. I think that's a game that, you're just in one environment. You're in a living room. And now you have this system that can be docked. You could play it in HD. You could just have basically on your TV this screensaver of this really high definition, really nice looking dog that you could play with and play games with. And here's the other prediction I'm making alongside this.
Okay.
Here's the other prediction I'm making alongside this. I think Nintendogs is going to be the first game that utilizes a new Street Pass feature on the Switch.
Oh.
I think they've been waiting to bring Street Pass onto the Switch, but I think that because 3DS was still selling, they were hesitant to bring it over because that was something that was, very tied into the infrastructure of the 3DS. It was something that really made it stand out. And now that they're not trying to sell 3DSs anymore, they're basically just like getting rid of their stock, and now they're moving on to the Switch. I think now is the time to then bring over things like Street Pass. And I think Nintendogs would be the perfect game to do that because they had it with the original Nintendogs, for 3DS. And I think it's going to happen again. So I think they're going to reintroduce Street Pass into the system via like a firmware update that launches the same day Nintendogs comes out.
I don't even think they
don't
don't even have to do that using the Switch. They could do that using the Switch Online app on your smartphone.
There you go. You can have your phone with you at all times. You have the online app. It Street Passes. It passes to your Switch, and you're good. Exactly. But I think it'll be some type of Street Pass thing.
Yeah.
Like some type of, whether it comes with Pokemon or whatever, it's going to be something where you're communicating with people. You don't know you're communicating with them. And then all of a sudden you get home and, oh my God, all these people showed up in my living room with their dogs.
And if they wanted to add some like light online elements, I mean, they had the dog competitions in Nintendogs as well. What if you could do that online with a small group of people?
Yeah, I would love it.
Yeah.
I would love it.
And you wouldn't even need to be like it wouldn't have to be like simultaneous online. You could just like take the data of another person's dog and they could just like throw it into your game.
Yeah.
Something simple like that. They could even use the Street Pass feature for that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys started talking about kind of, smaller casual experiences because, and first, Roger, that's not where I thought you were going with that. I thought you were about to say Brain Age.
Now, I will say right now, I'll show you this just to prove. I'm not going to because I have to go dig through a bunch of boxes, I realized, because I just got back from Japan. But I was going to pull out the box for every Brain Age game because I own all of them. I love the Brain Age series. Concentration Training, the ones that were on DS, loved those games. And I would really love to see like a Brain Age, even if it was like the mini Sudoku or whatever, come to Switch. I would love that as an eShop title that's like $10.
Yeah.
The only thing about that is I feel like that's not something that would get announced at E3.
Right.
Like, I feel like Nintendogs is a big enough franchise where they could announce it at E3 as a headline and it would get a lot of traction. But I feel like Brain Age would be something that would be buried in E3 and would be better off as a reveal in a direct later in the year. But I agree with you. I would love to see a Brain Age game.
So going further into the casual direction, this is something that I've talked about a lot over the last year, and I think it might be time to finally bring it out. I don't know if we'd see it at this E3 or if it would bleed into next year, but I still want to bring it up, and that is Mii Sports Resort. I think it's time to bring that back.
Yes.
I've had such a hankering for that game over the last few months that I really need it to happen.
I still play Wii Sports Resort on my Wii. It's still hooked up to my TV. Literally, my Wii is still connected to my HD TV in 2019 so I could do sword fighting. And so I could do the version of bowling that's in that because the version of bowling that's in that game is so much better than the original game. And the original game is already so good. Dude, I am right there with you. Yes, please.
I want the Miis to kind of come back like full force. Obviously, they still exist,
Yeah.
But I feel like they need a more central thing. Like, where's the next Tomodachi Life and all this other stuff? And really, the branding doesn't have to change too much. Instead of Wii Sports, it's Mii Sports,
I love it.
And I think that's perfect. I think they could do so much social media stuff with that. And they seem like they've been really doing that. Maybe bring some of that essence of Miiverse, whatever it may be. I am so down because I miss playing sports as Miis. I really do. So I think we're all on the same page with that one.
You brought up something else too that's interesting because one of the things I did going into my predictions this year, which I think was kind of funny that I did that this year, but it's normally going into E3 time, it's like, let's break out the crazy predictions, open world FZero and stuff like that. But This year, we really haven't heard anything rumor-wise. This has been a very quiet year. And I think a big portion of that is because we already sort of know all the big games that are going to be shown off.
Yeah.
Things like Animal Crossing and Pokemon and stuff like that. So I do think the surprises are going to be in the form of small things that really wouldn't get leaked. Things like Nintendogs. Things like a Mario and Rabbids sequel. That, even though the first Mario and Rabbids got leaked to hell. So I don't know who's to say. But regardless, I think it's going to be more of those kind of experiences that are going to surprise people at E3. And I'm so glad you brought up Tomodachi Life, because that is, again, another franchise that has sold amazingly well, both on DS and on 3DS. It was exclusive to DS in Japan, but then eventually came to North America on 3DS. That game sold over 6 million units. It's the 10th best-selling game in 3DS history. So for them to not think about making a sequel, it seems crazy to me. I mean, you already have a Tomodachi stage that's in Smash Brothers Ultimate. The Mii's came back. I do think there will be a resurgence of Mii-related games and casual games in the next year, 2 years, because they've really got it is. They have their hardcore audience now. Similar to what happened that first year of the Wii. It's like, boom, you wanted Twilight Princess, you wanted Mario Galaxy, you wanted Metroid Prime 3, here you go. And you look at Switch. Okay, you wanted Smash Brothers, you wanted Xenoblade, you wanted all this stuff. You got it. Now, let's appeal to that new demographic that's really going to sell systems. Because, like you mentioned, Logan, you talked about Nintendogs not really being a system seller. And I semi-agree with that. I think I agree with that in the sense that it's not a system seller for the hardcore. It's something that's really going to push units, but isn't really a system seller. But I think for people who are looking at the Switch, especially if this rumored redesign is happening this year, and it's maybe a more casual focused Switch with higher quality visuals or something, if we get launching alongside this casual thing, something like a Tomodachi Life and Nintendogs, with the promise of, oh, by the way, an Animal Crossing is coming later this year and a new generation of Pokemon. Right. I mean, that's the push they need. And I think
So when I say it's not like a system seller, what it is, some people don't buy a system for just one game. They'll have 2, 3, 4 games that they'll be like, okay, now here's the thing. Now, certainly for me, I bought Switch launch day because I needed Breath of the Wild.
All of us did. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of people, it's I want to play those games and I want to get into Mario Kart and Super Mario Odyssey. And it just adds the value propositions. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people buying it exclusively for a Nintendogs game, but that's oh man, it also Nintendogs. Oh man, and Animal Crossing. Oh, this is amazing. Okay, now the value proposition is increased and so many people are going to dive in, especially when kids start complaining to their parents, Mom, I want this. Oh, that looks really cool. And their parents well, okay, I guess we're getting 5 Switches for the household.
Right.
And I mean, another thing that supports that whole argument is look at how well indie games are doing on Switch. Right. I don't think someone's going to go out of their way necessarily to buy a Switch to buy an indie game, but if they already have a Switch, they're definitely going to buy an indie game. Cuphead being a great example of that.
So actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because here's another prediction of mine. I think we're going to see this isn't necessarily a Nintendo prediction, but it's coming to Switch, so I think it counts. I think during the Microsoft conference, we are going to see the first gameplay DLC trailer for Cuphead, because they announced it last year. If you remember, there was the Cuphead DLC pack with Miss Chalice and the new chef character, and we haven't seen anything of it, but they said coming in 2019. We haven't seen anything, but if you look on the website for Cuphead, since it's been updated with, Cuphead's now on Nintendo Switch, it lists the Switch as a system that is getting DLC day one, meaning that this is something that could be in Nintendo's Direct as a headline, but will most likely be revealed during Microsoft's conference on Sunday. But I think unquestionably we will see the Cuphead DLC during this year's E3. So much so, I'm so confident about this that I, for the first time in years, booked a media appointment with Microsoft just so I could play a Cuphead DLC. They haven't announced it's playable or anything, but I have specifically booked a media time because I think it's going to be there.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
Another prediction from me, and this again, it's one of those smaller titles, but I think given how long it's been since the last WarioWare, I think it might be time to see not WarioWare, but Rhythm Heaven. So last game was Mega Mix, and that was kind of a compilation game. And I don't even necessarily think this is one that we'll see like during the direct. This is a game they could just show us during like a treehouse segment and announce it there.
I would love that, but I also hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Oh no, don't do this to me.
The main guy who composes the music for Rhythm Heaven and is one of the primary vocalists actually is currently suffering from throat cancer.
Oh no!
And he's been suffering from it since the last game that came out, which I think was Megamix on 3DS.
Yeah.
And so he has already stated that he's sort of out of commission for the time being until he recovers. So I don't know his progress. I hope that he's recovered well in the past year or so. But because of that, I don't think Rhythm Heaven is happening just yet. Despite how much I want it, I would love a Rhythm Heaven game.
That's fair. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I hope he's feeling better.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sending all my energy because as a vocalist, that just no.
Oh, it's the worst.
If not, I could still see that team maybe working on a WarioWare title.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why when you said WarioWare, I was like, okay, I could see that happening. But as soon as you said Rhythm Heaven, my heart just broke. I had to immediately be like, please. I had to pray to the heavens, like, please. Let this man recover from his throat cancer and give us a Rhythm Heaven game. But
yeah, everybody who's watching the stream now, just send him your energy
send him your energy, man.
That's no good. We need to smash throat cancer.
That's it. Yeah.
Logan, do you have any more in your pocket?
Yeah, I was saying probably off stream, like it was really difficult to sit in here because like I feel like I already know everything.
Yeah.
And anything that they're just gonna pull out, like Nintendo's been keeping a lot of secrets, and the rumors that do come about, it turns out like, that's not a thing. That's just like a rumor. Somebody like made that up, or maybe at some point it was a thing and then it got out, but then it got canceled or something like that. I guess the only other thing that I'd really like to see is I want to see that Metroid Prime trilogy.
I'm so glad someone said it. Good.
Okay. I forgot about that.
Like I played through the most of Metroid Prime, right? Even it's just sitting in my GameCube. It's waiting for me to actually beat the Omega Pirate, which I have been crushed by on a handful of times. And I felt so defeated. I was like, no, I'm going to play something more casual and feel good about myself. But man, I would really love that. I'd also love to see pointer options as well within the game. That would be really cool. Just general dual stick controls as well. Still keep the lock on function and stuff like that. That would be great. Just give us more options and accessibility. And please don't just make it like an HD port. I want like really pretty. Obviously, they were working on Metroid Prime 4. Working on, and I don't know if they're like just using another engine that they have or building it from the ground up, but I would hope that they'd be building a new engine and then they would just remake those games in that engine. And so we kind of get a taste of what Metroid Prime 4 is really going to look like. And that would be so sweet.
I completely 100% agree with you. That was one of my upcoming predictions. And something I brought up on the Commonwealth video as well is I 100% think we're going to get a Metroid Prime trilogy announcement. In fact, I think I know how it's going to happen in the Direct. I think a lot of people who don't really follow the news or maybe didn't know that Metroid Prime 4 was canceled and then rebooted with Retro Studios developing it now. The previous developer, I think, was like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was a subsidiary of Bandai Namco.
I don't think that was ever confirmed, but that's the
I don't know
rumor.
if it was ever confirmed, but that's the rumor. And so now they've announced, Retro Studios is making it. I feel like somebody from Retro, some rep from Retro is going to say, hey, just so you guys know, kind of like what happened with Pokemon 2 years ago when Ishihara-san said like, oh, we're getting a Pokemon on Switch, like we're making a Pokemon. I think it's going to be the exact thing. I think it's going to be like a guy in Retro Studios, one of the directors or something saying, hey, just to let you guys know, we're hard at work on Metroid Prime 4. We don't have anything to show this E3. Stay tuned until next year's show. Then you're going to get more information. But until then, we're really happy to announce that we are actually bringing back Metroid Prime Trilogy to the Switch. And I think it's going to get this uproarious applause from everybody who's watching at home doing their live reactions. So I completely agree. I think that's something we're going to get. I think that's actually up there alongside like Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle is something that I feel really, really like. I even put in a little document before I came on here, just ratings and odds for some certain things happening. And I put 75% odds for both Metroid Prime Trilogy and Kingdom Battle 2. So I'm right there with you.
I think of any kind of things that we don't have like confirmed of all the likely things. I feel like Metroid Prime trilogy is like
Yeah.
the most forefront because we've heard that the rumors here. We know Metroid Prime 4 is
For a
on the
long
way.
time, too.
Thirsty.
For a
We're
long
so
time.
thirsty for Metroid Prime. Everyone's so thirsty. So this would be the time to just, throw it in there. Just give it to us. It's time.
I'm surprised neither of you have brought up something, though. There's a certain small Nintendo franchise that has been known about since the initial announcement of Mario Odyssey, before it was even called Mario Odyssey, back when he said that he's working on a new 3D Mario game. Miyamoto stated that, with the development of the new consoles, there would be a new 3D Mario game and a new Pikmin game. The fact that we have not yet seen Pikmin 4 is crazy to me, when that was one of the very first things announced for the Switch. It was one of the very first things, and we have seen nothing of it. So I feel like it's almost too late into this year to announce it, because I feel like we have such a stacked release schedule now looking into it, and I feel like Pikmin might get lost in the shuffle.
I don't know.
I could see, and this is what I think could happen if we get a Pikmin announcement. I could see the announcement of Pikmin as one of those games, how they already mentioned that this year's E3, it's a focus on 2019 releases. Normally there's one or two 2021s like sprinkled in there. There's always a couple. Like Yoshi was in the one for the next year. And there have been games like that. And Kirby too. So I think we're going to see that with Pikmin, and I think Pikmin's going to be a big spring game for them.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say that.
Perfect. All right, great.
Yeah, I think Pikmin 4 is going to be one of those games that they give us to kind of let us look forward to 2020.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll be the only one. I don't have a prediction as to what the other one could be, though, because everything's so stacked right now. I don't know if they want to overdo it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a pretty good bet.
I'll tell you this, since you're on the topic of 2020 games, all the things I'm about to bring up, I do not think will be in this E3 Direct, so don't quote me on this. But I think next year is going to be probably one of the biggest E3s like in history, because I think if you look at this year, kind of like what I brought up earlier, right? They have no competition this holiday season, right? PS4, Xbox One, they're on the way out. Switch is still a new kid on the block. They have all these new, franchises, Animal Crossing and Pokemon, a lot of stuff to bring to the table. Mario Maker 2. I think next year, in order to compete over the holiday season with the other systems, with PS5, with Scarlet, I think we're going to see a really heavy emphasis on their heavy-hitting series. And I think next E3 we could see, or next year I should say, this might even be announced before next E3, I think we're going to get the announcement of a true Mario Odyssey sequel and a Zelda sequel in the Breath of the Wild engine.
Wow.
And I think we're getting both, plus Metroid Prime 4 is still in development, plus the other megaton they're sitting on. And if you look at the financial sales, things that I brought up already a lot during this prediction podcast, the best-selling game on Switch right now, sitting at 16 million units, is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart Tour, obviously coming out this year. I don't think they're going to want to have another Mario Kart game come out this year and launch alongside that. But I feel really strongly that if they want to do another Mario Kart, they could announce it at next year's E3. So we could be looking at a Mario Odyssey 2, Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3, Mario Kart 9 year, which would be insane. Plus, if you go by the release schedule of every other year in recent memory, Pokemon on the off year usually does a remake game. What have people wanted for a long time? Diamond and Pearl remakes. What were their teases of in Let's Go? Diamond and Pearl remakes. And if you look in the trailer for Sword and Shield, what is something that you actually see in the trailer? You see the underground base area, or something that looks similar to it in the first trailer for Sword and Shield. You see this area that looks like the underground with jewels sticking out of the wall that looks very reminiscent of the underground from Diamond and Pearl. I would not be surprised if the Diamond and Pearl remake games are in the Sword and Shield engine, and we see certain things in Sword and Shield that will then transfer to the Diamond and Pearl remakes next year. So again, a new Mario Kart, a new Pokemon remake, Breath of the Wild 2, Odyssey 2, Metroid Prime 4, and Bayonetta 3. That is insane.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think we're getting Mario Kart 9.
Oh,
really?
Not on the Switch. I don't think.
Really?
I don't think so. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is it. I think people are perfectly happy to keep buying that game, and I don't think they're going to invest in it anymore. I mean, look at how that game is still selling.
I think it's too late for DLC. I don't think so.
I think people will just keep buying it. I don't think it's gonna stop. I don't think Nintendo has like enough of a like, oh yeah, like unless like Mario Kart 8 sales really peter out, I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. And if anything, we're not getting Mario Kart 9 until we get some sort of revision or the sequel to the Switch. I just don't see it happening. And if we do get more racing games, it'll be in another franchise, but I don't think we're necessarily going to get another kart racer.
Man, you're really holding out hope for that F-Zero game. I'm telling you, man. You're saying.
I mean, but I don't think that necessarily replaces like the kart racer. That's its own thing, right?
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing.
Right, right. But like, yeah, I don't see it happening. I don't see. Yeah. I mean, maybe Nintendo is at that point where they have this great new idea that's really going to set it apart, and it does have a place on the Switch. I don't see them putting their resources into that just now.
To counter that, we've never had the situation where Mario Kart has had 2 iterations on a single console. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct, yes.
So in this case, and this is something that they've even mentioned bringing back at some point, they've talked about bringing back the double dash mechanic when they thought they could do something fresh with it. And now, in my mind, if they don't want to have the next Mario Kart maybe compete with Mario Kart 8, don't call it Mario Kart 9. Call it Mario Kart Double Dash 2. Exactly.
Woo, boy. And you know what? You're saying that now, and I'm thinking about the way the Switch works, where you have the 2 Joy-Cons attached to it, that you literally could just play with your friend, take it off, and they're in the back seat. Now oh, man, that's a really, really good prediction. That's real good.
But here's the thing.
That gift of that guy saying that's good, that's damn good, I'm feeling that right now.
They won't call it Double Dash 2, though. They'll just, like, multiply the double. It'll be Quadruple Dash.
Quadruple Dash?
Double Dash.
And it'll still just be 2 people on there, but they'll just call it Quadruple Dash.
Hey, as a fan of In-N-Out Burgers, I like the idea of a double dash. I think that's great. I like that a lot.
That's the one. That's my favorite. Double dash.
Double dash.
I'm with you, Roger. I don't think that's until next year.
Yeah, I think so too.
We got Team Sonic Racing, we got Mario Kart Tour, Crash Nitro Team or Crash Team Racing, Nitro Fuel. There's no room for it.
Yeah,
not yet.
There's still one other crazy prediction that I haven't brought up yet. If you guys still want it.
Oh, I want it. You don't have to ask me.
Give it to us.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, after that, I'm not sure if I want.
All right, here we go.
I take it.
So we brought it up earlier. We brought this up earlier, and we've been talking about games that have sold well on their other systems in the past. Something else that people sleep on, and we talked about this game earlier during this podcast, is Nintendo Land. Nintendo Land, while it was packed with the system here in North America, Nintendo Land was sold separately in Japan.
It was.
Nintendo Land, just to give you an idea of how much this game sold, despite being on Wii U, Nintendo Land was the 5th best-selling game on Wii U, above the original Splatoon and Super Mario Maker.
Wow.
Oh.
Splatoon
Now, people
surprised
don't.
me.
I know, it's literally above Splatoon and Super Mario Maker, which are 2 of the biggest games that were on the Wii U, which both already got full-on sequels on the Switch. The only one left, because we're looking at this list of bestsellers, you got Mario Kart 8, we already have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario 3D World, already got Odyssey. New Super Mario Bros. U, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Super Smash Bros. We got Super Smash Bros. Splatoon 2, Super Mario Maker 2. The only one left of the best-selling games is Nintendo Land. And I think if they position it correctly as a fun, casual mini-game collection, they could do a Nintendo Land 2 for the Switch. And I don't necessarily think that would be something they would announce at E3, but I think there's a high chance of it happening. And again, as we've been talking about a lot during this podcast, I think the focus on surprise games at this E3 needs to be on the weird, casual franchises that people aren't thinking about.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned earlier, Mii Sports Resort, Nintendogs, Nintendo Land. That's the kind of stuff I really feel like we're getting. And I would not be surprised to see at least 2 of those games announced at this year's show.
And another reason that would do so well is because, a lot of the players who were kids when the Wii was the new hotness back in like 2006, they were raised on those kinds of games, and they've been gone for so long. So that's going to appeal to a lot of what are probably core gamers now too.
Yeah, a lot of those people who were teenagers when the Wii came out are now grown with children. So
yeah,
they're looking for something to play with their kids. That's the game.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I do have one more small game prediction.
Okay,
and
let's hear it.
it's usually the sign of the end of a console's life, but they usually sprinkle a few of these in during the middle years too. And that's a Kirby spin-off game. I think there will be some small-time Kirby spin-off title.
Okay. I'm hoping and praying for eShop $40 City Trial Battle Royale. That would be amazing. I would love that.
That's what I want.
Kirby Air Ride City Trial Battle Royale would make me have a heart attack live on stream.
If I was going to lock down on a specific one, it'd be Air Ride.
And now you want it. Dude, think about it, all right? Just use your big brain for a second, all right? People have those big brain jokes. This is the galaxy brain take of E3. Think about this, all right? Listen.
Oh, man.
Think about every Battle Royale game that's out right now. You've got like Apex Legends, Fortnite, all these games selling crazy amounts. Think about City Trial. What was the whole purpose of City Trial back on Kirby Air Ride? What happens? Gee, you drop into an arena with all your friends on a Warp Star. You're the last one standing with the strongest cart after the minigames are over. And then all of a sudden, during the map, on this huge map, there are these weird in-game events that happen. Certain things will drop. You'll get stat bonuses. You can pick up the stat bonuses from people's carts that you beat up. I'm telling you, Kirby Air Ride is the reason Fortnite, Apex Legends, all these kind of games, they exist because Sakurai made Kirby Air Ride. I know it's blasphemous for me to say it. I don't genuinely believe it, but I just want to say it to be inflammatory. Air Ride 2, City Trial Battle Royale, it's got to happen. Again, another thing I brought up, I did that live stream with JC before I left to Japan, where he like came to my house and we played Joker. And I brought that up on stream, and he was like, who wants that? I didn't even know people wanted Kirby Air Ride 2. JC, Nintendo, I know you're listening.
Bro.
I want it. Everybody wants it. Battle Royale City Trial. You could take my money now.
That game occupied so much of my GameCube's life.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
And think about it. Like, one of the things they were really pushing this year was Nintendo Switch Online. And that, I mean, we're seeing that in Super Mario Maker 2 and a lot of these games that are coming out over the rest of the year. What if a city trial mode was just a Nintendo Switch Online special offer free download?
Oh, if you're telling me, if City Trial Battle Royale, I'm telling you, man, if that is the new Tetris 99 of next year, bro, whew, I'm feeling the vapors in this room, man.
And then it'll get a $10 Big Star DLC, and everybody will be like, "What?
And that's when they add the Air Ride mode.
Yeah. I need it.
And think about it. You know, if it's a free title with, you know, Switch Online subscribers, they could do a loot box system, and I know that is a trigger word for a lot of people. And I'm not saying like you spend money, but I'm saying you play rounds, then you get a Kirby box, and you open the Kirby or a Box Boy. You open a Box Boy, and you get like cosmetics for your Air Ride machine, maybe little Kirby outfits. Nothing you have to pay for.
Kirby outfits.
I'd love that.
Yeah, just keep people playing. That's all I'm saying.
You know, this has been an amazing discussion, honestly. Lots of great E3 predictions, but we forgot about one thing. We didn't forget.
There's always one more thing.
I think. Well, that's why I saved this for last. So I think the one more thing, obviously, for this direct has to be a big bombshell Smash character, right? Yeah. We have the fighter pack. We're going to get a bombshell Smash character. However, and most people I've done these prediction discussions with already agree with me, and I think you guys probably will too. First off, think that Dragon Quest leak is totally right. I think we're absolutely getting the next character is going to be Dragon Quest guy or whatever his name is, like
Erdrick.
Erdrick or whatever. Dragon Quest guy, that's going to happen. But that is not an E3 hype-worthy announcement. For some people, it might be. For Stealth on Twitter, right? For the JRPG fans, it'll be a huge deal. But I think for a lot, and for Japan, it'll be a big deal. But I think for a lot of the North American audience, that's not really going to be a bombshell like Joker, right? So here's what I'm proposing.
Okay.
During the Smash Brothers Invitational thing that's happening, the World Championships, or at the very, very beginning of the Nintendo E3 Direct, we're going to get the boom, the cross, we're going to get a Dragon Quest character, Dragon Quest stage, and the announcement that this character drops today. It's today. Because if you think about it, right, Joker was the first character in the pack, just came out, right? You have a 2-month gap in between these other characters. We're assuming at least there's going to be like 2 months gaps in between their releases because it works perfectly if you lead up to February, which is when they said this fighter pack's going to end.
Yeah.
Based on that, there should be a character release next month. There should be a character release in June. If that's the case, And again, Erdrick's not really a character that North American fans are going to go crazy over. I think that character will be announced and will release during E3 week. And I think even if it doesn't get like announced at the end of the Invitational, it could happen where they could bring it out like midway through, where they're like, by the way, we want to show you guys something cool. And then immediately there's gameplay of Erdrick, and they're like, by the way, you could download this today. That'd be crazy. That'd be a great early Megaton for Nintendo. However, and I'm hesitant to make this prediction, but I want it to be true so bad. I want it to be true so bad. But I see it in my head. I've been having dreams about it. I've been thinking about the relationship these two companies have. I truly think that this is a possibility now. And I never would have said this a year ago, but I think this is truly a possibility now. I think during the Nintendo Direct, at the very end of the E3 Direct for Nintendo, we're going to have Doug Bowser come out and say, thank you so much for joining us for the E3 Direct. We're going to jump to Treehouse Live, but one more thing. Cut to second Smash Bros. Character trailer, which would make sense because we usually get the previews of them a couple months before, and if Erdrick is just dropping on this day, we'd probably get the preview for the third character at E3. I mean, if they're going to do two at once, they'll probably do it during E3. Think about this, all right? Think about this. You see a giant scene, right? A beautiful scene, and across the stage, you see B. Mario. He's buzzing around.
Okay.
Okay? And you're thinking, all right, what the heck is this? And it says gameplay not final, whatever. And you see B. Mario buzzing across the screen. And then the scene opens up, and you see it's actually a puzzle. And then you look, and the camera pans, and it's Banjo-Kazooie. And Banjo-Kazooie are in Smash Bros. And here's why I'm saying this. Because there's been crazy stuff that's been happening. Cloud got in Smash Bros. Joker got in Smash Bros. And of the remaining characters, we got to be honest, like there's not a lot left. Like they literally have thrown everybody. Like there's a couple Capcom characters you could say, maybe a Resident Evil character, maybe they'll throw in like Dante or Phoenix Wright or Monster Hunter, Ryo Hayabusa. I mean, there are characters, but there are few characters that could be on the level of somebody like Banjo-Kazooie that would be a megaton E3 announcement on the level of something like Joker.
Yeah, that's a bombshell announcement.
And I think the reason this is happening is there's been a lot of hints leading up to this. Think about it. Phil Spencer said on Twitter on multiple occasions, we would be happy to put Banjo-Kazooie in Smash Bros. It's literally just up to Nintendo. If they ask, we will put Banjo-Kazooie in the game. He has said that on record multiple times. This year, what is one of the best-selling games on the eShop now that they decided to work with Nintendo? Cuphead. Minecraft is huge, and a lot of people have the idea that we're going to get Minecraft Steve or something, and I don't doubt that maybe there'll be a Minecraft Assist Trophy or a stage or something, or maybe even later on down the line. But I don't think if there's a Minecraft character, it's going to be the E3 announcement. I really, truly believe Banjo-Kazooie is going to get shown off at the end of the Nintendo Direct. And the next game that Microsoft is porting over to the Switch, they already brought over Minecraft. They already brought over Cuphead. There's one other really big family title they could bring over to the Switch that would completely work with this demographic, and that's Rare Replay. And I think we're going to find out at the end of the Nintendo Direct, after the reveal of Banjo-Kazooie, or maybe during the Treehouse Live segment, right after the reveal of Banjo, that Rare Replay is making its way to Nintendo Switch. And that is going to be the final, because really, Nintendo, Microsoft has nothing to lose at this point. They really don't. They're making money with Cuphead. They're making money with Minecraft. And they know that they don't have a handheld. They're not losing anything by putting these games on the system. I truly, truly believe Rare Replay is coming to Switch and Banjo is going to be in Smash Bros. And I think it's going to happen at this E3.
I think Banjo-Kazooie is like a pretty much a lock. And like in terms of just like putting games on there, putting Replay, I think that's perfectly in line with Microsoft's current business model. Like they're not really all that concerned necessarily with, like they are moving more towards software. Like they will release the hardware because that's more consoles and just more platforms that they can sell those games on. Yeah. But ultimately they are in the business of making the money with the software because that's where the money is. It's not the hardware.
Yeah. And to double back on this, I also would not be surprised if the Nintendo version of Rare Replay also includes the original 3 Donkey Kong Country games and Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh, if it has Diddy Kong Racing, I'm buying it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Also, I still need
Added
to play
online
the 2 and 3 of Donkey Kong Country. So
They could also throw DK64 on there.
I was just gonna say they could do DK64 as well, because a lot of the other games.
Do we want it?
I like DK64. Yeah, I'd like to have that on handheld. That'd be fun. But I truly believe that this is up there, like I said, with the Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle 2 and with Metroid Prime Trilogy. This is one of those things that, like, when you ask me, okay, 3 things that are happening this year: Metroid Prime Trilogy, Kingdom Battle 2, Rare Replay on Switch with Banjo and Smash. That's like literally, those are my big 3 predictions. And just judging on the relationship that Microsoft's had with Nintendo and thinking about other characters that could really make a splash during E3, like, I really can't think of any other character that would make the internet implode other than Banjo-Kazooie. I think there's some that would make Nintendo fans weep, like if we got Geno or we got, well, I was going to say Minecraft Steve would make people cry for different reasons, but there are certain characters. There are certain characters that I think can really make a wave, and I feel like Banjo-Kazooie is one of those characters that's left that could really get people excited, and I think that they could do a lot of interesting stuff with, because, in fact, there's already been data mines of things that have been in Smash Bros. Ultimate as spirits, and there are spirits in there for Blast Core and for Jet Force Gemini. Now, why would there be spirits for Blast Core and Jet Force Gemini in the game if there's not some type of rare integration in the near future on Switch?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Man,
so I feel like, and because we got bonus spirits with Joker, I wouldn't be surprised if we got bonus spirits with Banjo-Kazooie, where we also get, like, Vela and Juno and all the Jet Force Gemini characters, or like the Blast Core guy or whatever. So,
it could be themed like Grunty's castle too. So, like, in that game, you get deeper and deeper into her castle, and as you go further to the right on the spirit board, you get deeper and deeper into the castle. I think that'd be cool.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm in pretty much agreement there. Honestly, like, Smash Brothers and the next character has been, like, the most complicated thing for me in terms of my my predictions this year. So, like, I just don't know what it could be. Like what you said, like, Banjo-Kazooie is the only character I can think of that would really cause that much of a wave on the internet.
The only other one I could think of is Sora, but knowing the licensing issues with Nintendo and with Disney and with Square Enix, and also knowing that Square and Disney already have a hard time putting Sora on merchandise for their own stuff, like, it'd be very difficult to put Sora in. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's one of those things that, I think Sora could really, blow people's expectations out of the water. But I just can't see the little copyright Disney thing at the bottom of the list of things that are in Smash Bros. You know what I mean? That's just one thing that's just like a step too far.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I want that, and that was my prediction last year too, is that Sora would come to Ultimate, but I've been thinking that less and less as time has gone on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, with Joker being in Smash, honestly, anything could happen. And I think Joker being in Smash is why I'm having such a hard time deciding who's in Smash.
Right.
Because Nintendo is clearly going for those characters that you wouldn't expect them to be able to get.
Right.
And I just don't know.
And I also, I'll say this. Just because I sound real confident about the Banjo-Kazooie thing, I promise I don't know anything. I wish I did, but I don't. Actually, I take that back. I don't wish that I did, because then my reaction videos wouldn't be fun, because then I would know already. So I want to say this. I think even if it's not Banjo, I think there will be 2 characters at E3. Erdrick's going to drop day of, and I think there'll be a second one. And I think the second one at the end of the Direct is going to be a Microsoft character. And I don't know who it's going to be, but I feel really strongly that's going to be the hook, line, and sinker. It's going to be a Banjo or a Cuphead or a Master Chief, or there's going to be something, and whatever, or Steve even. It could be Steve from Minecraft. Again, I don't want to, but it could be. But I think there is going to be a Microsoft character in it, just based on the relationship, based on everything that we've seen now on Switch, based on their willingness to work with them, the importance to the game industry as a whole, which obviously, I mean, this is basically PlayStation All-Stars now. We have Snake, we have Cloud, we have Joker, we have characters that are in Ryu. We have characters who are in this that are very much tied to PlayStation culture. There's no reason why they couldn't just throw in a Microsoft character. And I do feel like that's one thing Microsoft really has going for it, are these really recognizable characters like Banjo or Master Chief, or, like I said, even Cuphead. Right? A dream of mine would be Cuphead gets in there and then Mugman's an Echo Fighter. I would like, again, have a heart attack live on stream. But
I'm glad you mentioned Echo Fighters, because that's something I wanted to bring up. I feel like we're not done with Echo Fighters.
I agree.
Whether or not they come with some of the newcomers or they just add some for characters we already have, I think there will be Echo Fighters added outside of the Fighter Pass that are free for download.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think that if you buy the new character and there's an Echo Fighter with the character, you get the character for free, or they're going to be developing Echo Fighters that they're just going to throw in the game and release as free DLC. Completely agree with you. Because if you look on the World of Light map, there are lots of different character slots that are still available. I think there's up to 16 that they found, like in the data. There's up to 16 open slots. Mm-hmm. That's plenty of room for Echo Fighters if they want to do it.
And even if they don't make it free for everybody, they could make that a fun, cool bonus for people who subscribe to Switch Online.
Yeah. Also, Cosmic Bones in here saying, if it's Cuphead and Mugmen, then Shovel Knight got robbed. Steve is more likely than indie characters IMO. Cosmic Bones, I'm going to tell you one thing that I noticed while on my trip to Japan.
Oh.
And this is going to shock him. Well, actually, it might not, because his name is Cosmic Bones, so maybe you should know this. One indie game that is absolutely massive and everywhere in Japan is Undertale. People who are in North America don't quite understand the level of fandom that Undertale has in Japan. That game is massive. There are full-on Undertale concerts that have happened. There's Undertale merchandise. When I went to Akihabara and I went to the stores, they had Undertale soundtracks, things signed by Toby Fox. Toby Fox has gone to conventions and has been mobbed in Japan over Undertale.
Man.
Like, they're making Deltarune. Deltarune is being localized by the same company that localized the Fire Emblem games on DS. I mean, there are strong ties. And Sakurai did a whole column about Undertale and playing Undertale when it first came out in Famitsu. If any indie game is going to get into Smash Brothers, not including someone like Cuphead or Steve that has a tie to Microsoft, I'm sorry, it's going to be an Undertale character. Like, there's no doubt in my mind an Undertale character could absolutely happen at this point, which is, again, something weird that people are like, Undertale? Really? But believe me, don't underestimate the love for Undertale in Japan. It is wild.
I think that's totally possible too. And
I think so too.
Remember how much of a fan Sakurai was or is of Xenoblade Chronicles, has a character in Smash, of Persona 5, has a character in Smash, even though that one was decided by Nintendo. I still think there is a little bit of a link there. Like, things that Sakurai likes are things that end up in Smash Brothers.
Yeah. And I don't also think, because Sakurai even said in a recent interview that he prefers newer franchises over older ones, but he'll go and add older characters if there haven't been any newer franchises. But one franchise that was sort of finalized around the initial time that the Ultimate thing was finalized was Undertale. Undertale came out the year that the Ultimate release template thing, whatever he made, was finalized. That came out that year. So that would have just been on the cusp. And then again, Persona 5 came out the next year. So he might not even be following that for the DLC characters. So I really think it's likely that we could get I don't think it's going to happen at E3, to clarify. But I think, because I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. I think it'd be like 4 or 5. I don't think it would really be 5. I think it'd be like 4 if it's going to happen. But I feel like the character might be Frisk, like the main protagonist. And then I think we could even get like a boss of Sans or something, or get spirits of all the other characters from Undertale. But just because of how popular the music is and that franchise in general in Japan, I truly believe if any indie's going to get in, excluding, like I said, Cuphead and Steve, it'll be Frisk or Sans from Undertale.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty strong bet, and that's something I'd absolutely love to see too. Just getting some of that Undertale music in there. Ooh. That was like the thing that got me the most excited about Joker was Persona 5 tracks.
Oh, so good.
And I mentioned Echo Fighters. I'll just throw a few out there that I think could happen. Dry Bowser, I think, could come to Smash Brothers, specifically because we got Super Mario Maker 2 coming out, and I think Dry Bowser could be in there. We haven't seen it yet.
Interesting. Oh, okay, interesting. That when you said Mario Maker 2, my mind initially changed. I was with you when you said Dry Bowser, and then I'm like, well, Mario Maker 2, who was showing off in the Direct? Meowser.
Oh, that's an even better one, actually. I would love that. Oh,
because there's no representation. There's no representation for Cat Mario or Cat Peach or whatever.
There's no 3D World anything.
No, and Nintendo loves that. I mean, Nintendo loves the cat aesthetic. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Meowser as an Echo Fighter, like a free Echo Fighter. I don't think anyone's paying for Meowser, but
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's the one Echo Fighter I'd expect first, and then maybe like Funky Kong. Not that it has anything to do with E3 this year, but. You know.
Hey, but it's a rare game. Who knows? Maybe they'll say, oh, by the way, Funky Kong Echo Fighter. Who knows?
True that. New funky mode, Smash Ultimate.
There you go.
Logan, do you have any ideas for Smash character before we wrap up today?
I'd rather not, because I mean, right now my hype is peaking. Right,
Yeah.
like we're already getting to the point. I'm looking at the calendar. We're like, 2 weeks out from actual E3, less than 2 weeks out from really when E3 starts, when Nintendo starts doing all these events and stuff like that. And it's just, man, I'm not sure I can like really contain it. And I really need to be able to perform the next few weeks and actually function. So I don't, I'm going to have to abstain from it.
I did think of one more thing since I was talking about Mario Maker. I don't think this would be an Echo Fighter, but I think they might throw it in as a costume. Builder Luigi, because now we have Builder Luigi.
I could see that. I could see them throw that as a costume. Yeah, I could see that. Builder Luigi would be cool.
That, I think, has me tapped for predictions. Does anyone else have anything?
I got another prediction actually for you.
Okay.
This is a minor one, a very minor one. And I don't think it'll be at E3, but I think if we get a Microsoft character at E3 in Smash Bros, you can expect this when that character drops. Because you know how they had like the standalone video for Joker, and then they were like, oh, there's Persona Mii costumes and stuff like that.
Right.
Here's my prediction. Microsoft character at E3, Banjo, Master Chief, whatever. There's gonna be a Microsoft character. When the video drops for that character, and that character comes out in like August or September or whenever, alongside that update, there will be costumes for multiple Microsoft franchises. Like we'll get a Cuphead Mugman hat for the Miis. We'll get, like a Master Chief Mii fighter outfit for the Mii Gunner. We'll get like a Gruntilda or Banjo-Kazooie backpack thing for the Mii fighters. There's going to be something like that. I think there's going to be a lot of it, like a Creeper outfit or a Steve outfit, like some kind of Minecraft outfits. But I think they're going to go all out. Like them having the rights to Microsoft stuff for a Smash character, I think Sakurai is just going to go all out and really make a lot of funny little Mii costumes. I don't think we're going to get Conquer. I see Dream Drop Sora in here saying Conquer outfit. I think that's one they'd probably like to forget. So I don't think we're going to get Conquer. But the other ones I think could happen. Yeah.
It'd be funny if they did add Conquer and he was a Mii sword fighter and he had a chainsaw.
I'd love it. Part of me honestly does want to see that Smash Bros. Cross and then hear bum ba bum 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 bum, and then just hear the Halo music, him looking up, and then just like that old Halo 3 trailer where you saw the sun rise over the horizon. Instead, it's the Smash logo. Oh my God, man! Like Master Chief's a character I don't think many people would think that I really want in Smash Brothers, but I've never even really been that big of a Halo fan, but just for the craziness of having Master Chief in Smash Bros, I want it to happen. Like just for the potential for a reveal trailer. That reveal, I think, like I said, Banjo's much more likely. I even think Cuphead's more likely, to be honest.
I mean, they could even tie it together with Halo. Halo Infinite? Is that what it's called?
There you go, Halo Infinite. Yeah.
I expect that to be a big game at E3 this year. So.
Oh yeah, that'll be big for Microsoft. Well, we should actually talk about this a little bit. What do you expect from Microsoft, Ubisoft, and Square?
I've talked about this briefly. I think Ubisoft might give us Watch Dogs 3. I'd hope.
Oh yeah, that's probably gonna happen.
We might get another glimpse at Beyond Good and Evil 2. Then I'm not expecting much for that.
Yep.
And then maybe some Assassin's Creed. And then
Just the Viking game, right? There was the Assassin's Creed Viking game that leaked.
Yeah.
So we'll probably see that. And then there was some roller derby game that got leaked today too.
Oh really? I didn't see that.
It's a brand new IP for Nintendo Switch and a couple other systems. Yeah, it's like a roller derby game. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah,
so that'll probably be there. And of course Kingdom Battle 2. Don't forget Kingdom Battle 2.
Oh yeah, and that's definitely going to be in the Ubisoft presentation.
Oh yeah, I think if it happens, it'll be at the Ubisoft presentation for sure.
I'll say this real quick. Of everybody else other than Nintendo that I'm really anticipating something special from, I'm actually anticipating a lot from Microsoft.
Me too.
Microsoft in the last few years has really been pulling it together. Yeah. Last year they made that announcement like, hey, look at all these new studios we bought. We're doing first party content. So I'm really anticipating at least one or two really, really big things coming from Microsoft.
Yeah, it's funny because I've been a Nintendo Sony stan for years. I mean, those have been my main systems for a long time. But these past 2 years, man, Microsoft has killed it at E3. Last year's E3 conference for Microsoft, I would say, was almost as good as the whole Everyone Is Here thing with Nintendo because they had the Halo Infinite reveal right at the very beginning.
Yep.
They showed off the Cuphead DLC. We got the announcement of Jump Force, which came out of nowhere. This like brand new shonen game that took anime YouTube, realm by storm. We had Frozen revealed for Kingdom Hearts 3, a full trailer for that.
Oh, yeah, that was
plus
huge.
the announcement that they're making a new system and that we're going to see that sometime soon. I mean, Mike, and like you said, the acquisition of all these studios for first-party content. I agree with you. Like, I'm legitimately excited for Microsoft's, which I haven't felt like that in a long time. And I mean, part of that might be because I think there's going to be a lot of Microsoft Nintendo ties at the C3, but also I just genuinely think they're going to have a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, they're going to kill it. I feel like it's going to be like the most. It may even surpass Nintendo in some ways, and I'm not saying for sure. I mean, and I certainly have that. I'm biased towards Nintendo, like unapologetically.
Yes. I think we all do.
But,
yeah.
But I mean, then Microsoft has just been killing it and just having a really great value and really drawing people in. I mean, it's kind of like the opposite of like the last generation, where it's like Xbox was like so far ahead and they were doing so many cool things, and then like right near the end, PS3 kind of outpaced it. Yeah. I feel like we're going to get something similar near the end, not quite as drastic, but I think Xbox One is going to really pick up, and they're going to release a few things, and then I think a lot of the things that they're working on now will also end up on the next console. And I mean, the consoles are becoming more iterative, right? We're getting things in between here and there and stuff like that. So I think you'll be releasing it, and eventually they'll be like, okay, it's just on the Xbox One X and the Xbox 2 double X or something like that. I don't know. Who knows?
I do think you mentioned them really having some heavy hitters. That one big E3 rumor that's going around is that there is a game developed from Software that is in coordination with George R.R. Martin, and that they're working on a title.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Seems like something that could be shown at Microsoft's.
Yeah, I can see that.
That would cause, because From is obviously a very Sony-tied developer, right? When you think of From Software games, you don't play Bloodborne and you don't play Sekiro on Xbox. You play it on your PS4. So I feel like if they do end up making some brand new IP and it's a George R.R. Martin kind of like fantasy thing, I could see that getting announced or shown, maybe even like a little teaser during Microsoft's conference.
And now that you've mentioned that, it's not entirely related, but there was wasn't there a Harry Potter game leaked last year that we haven't seen since?
What? I don't know.
There was footage. It made the rounds.
And actually, thinking about it too, it's Sony doesn't have a press conference this year, so they have no one to compete with in terms of these third parties.
Yeah.
If these third parties want to show off something and they don't have a conference, they're going to show it at Microsoft's. Like Sony, by not having one, kind of shot themselves in the foot when it comes to third party stuff, because even though it's obviously not important in the long run to hardcore people, because we're going to buy it on whatever system we want.
Yep.
People, I think, underestimate how important it is to have these third parties on stage with one of the big three.
Yeah.
During these E3 press conferences, because those people then get ingrained in their heads, oh, the system to play this on is on Xbox, or oh, the system to play this on is on PS4.
Now, we know Sony's not going to be at E3. Did they ever say that they weren't going to do a State of Play?
Well, they just did a State of Play like a week ago. They just did the Final Fantasy VII remake trailer thing. And that's a good segue into Square, because I think that's another reason why I'm excited for these press conferences this year. I think Square is going to kill it, because I think we're going to get a big look at Final Fantasy VII Remake, expanding on what we saw in that State of Play. But I also think we're going to get a lot of Switch ports, because these Switch ports have been doing well for them, and it's easy money. And I think we're going to get a lot more. I wouldn't be surprised to see Final Fantasy Tactics. I wouldn't be surprised to see a new Final Fantasy Tactics, or some type of sequel to World Ends With You, considering they re-released the game on Switch last year. There was a little teaser at the ending that there might be a new game coming. Like, that is something else that could be announced during Square's conference. And the other big thing, that how people are forgetting about this in their E3 predictions, is mind-boggling to me. 2 E3s ago, Square announced they're working on an Avengers project game. This year is the year of Avengers Endgame. If you think there's not going to be any trailer whatsoever for that Avengers project during the year of Avengers Endgame, you have rocks in your head. All right, we're getting that. that's happening at Square Enix's conference. No, I would put like $100 on it right now to anybody who wants to bet me in chat that Avengers won't be there, because I really think it will be.
Oh man, I hope so. I've been waiting patiently for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't overshadow Ultimate Alliance a little too much because I'm actually excited for that game.
I'm
excited for that game.
I think it looks better than I expected, but I mean,
yeah,
it
looks better than the first two anyway.
Give me that HD.
We're getting Ultimate Alliance on Switch because we're not getting the Avengers game on Switch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's all thanks to Nintendo. If not for Nintendo, literally that game would never be released. It's a Bayonetta 2 kind of situation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I think Square might also give us a little bit of the Kingdom Hearts DLC because that's supposed to be coming at the end of this year.
Yep. Completely agree with that too. So do
we'll
you think it's going to be
back.
a new world? Or do you think it's going to be, like, what do you think the DLC is going to be? Just like a new Proud mode or something?
Nomura's already said what it's going to be. It's going to be a story that talks about why a particular character showed up in the game. I won't say who because spoilers for those of you in the chat who care.
Hold on, wait. Hold on, spoiler alert real quick, because I'm just going to ask you because I want to know this. Is it the guitar guy?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
never mind then.
He might be in it, but like I can say it, but yeah.
It's been long enough.
Dream Drop Sora has already said it in there. Shion, because Shion shows up at the end of the game when she shouldn't even be alive. So it's supposed to detail the events that led up to that happening because, of course, Nomura never finishes a plot in the first try.
Yeah.
There's always got to be more.
Yeah. See, I think if we get anything Kingdom Hearts, I agree that we'll probably get a DLC trailer. See, man, Square's going to... I feel like Ubisoft, Square, Microsoft, and Nintendo all have, like, bombshell. I can't remember the last time I was genuinely this excited for all of the conferences. I definitely did not think 2 years ago when they announced Mario Kingdom Battle at Ubisoft that was going to be a good conference. My first E3 press conference ever was Ubisoft in 2008, and it was a train wreck. It was so bad. That was my first ever in-person conference at an E3. So to see how far Ubisoft has come now, where I'm just genuinely excited to see what they've got coming, it's cool. And like you said, with Square, we've got the remake, we've got all these potential ports. World Ends With You 2 coming out, like Avengers, all these other games. And like you said, the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3, that's another port I wouldn't be surprised to see. Is I could see Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 Final Mix coming to Switch. I don't think we're getting 3, but I think 1 and 2 Final Mix could.
Or they could just give us the story so far package.
Or the story so far package, yeah, with Birth by Sleep and stuff like that.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening. I would see that over Kingdom Hearts 3 coming. I think Kingdom Hearts 3 would take a lot more work, if it's even possible.
Yep. And, this is the perfect time to bring it up. Maybe it's okay they're not bringing over Kingdom Hearts 3 because that game is not very good.
You heard it here. And you could also find like a 2.5-hour discussion on the channel about that game.
Man, because I got to say this, right? I love Disney. I love Kingdom Hearts, man. I love that kind of stuff. Playing through that game, it was just sad. All right, spoiler alert, Kyrie doesn't do anything. All right? What was the point of Kyrie in that game?
I'm still angry.
What was that? Why do I need to collect 500 white crabs in the Pirates of the Caribbean stage to upgrade my ship?
Yeah.
There were so many good things in each of the levels, and then they were overshadowed by so many bad things. It's like people were talking about, San Francisco is the most amazing world in the game. What did we play the same game?
Oh, that was so boring.
It's an empty city with nothing in it. You run for 5 minutes and you run into one enemy encounter, you wipe them all out, and then you keep going.
Yeah.
Proud mode is like easy mode, bro. Like, I don't understand. How did they mess up this game so badly when it was in development for so long? The one thing, thankfully, that was good was the Frozen world. I liked the Frozen world. Arendelle was fun. And Monsters, Inc. was actually a lot of fun, too. I like the Monsters, Inc.
Hey,
world.
I thought Toy Box was great.
Toy Box is pretty cool. Maybe a little bit too much of the mech stuff. I liked the Final Fantasy Versus 13 game, the VM Rex thing. I liked that.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was cool. I liked that. But, yeah, man, what a disappointment. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs in that game. But
that is, you know how people have, like, the rating systems, like 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 5. Kingdom Hearts 3, to me, is the quintessential 7 out of 10 game. Like that. If you have like 10 out of 10 is Breath of the Wild, right? And 9 out of 10 is like, I don't know, Mario Odyssey. And then like 8 out of 10 is the original World Ends With You. Like 7 is Kingdom Hearts 3. Bro, like Kingdom Hearts 3 is when you open up a dictionary and you see 7 out of 10, Kingdom Hearts 3's box art is right next to it. Which is not to say that it's bad. It's not to say that it's bad, but because there were good moments to it. But like, dude, average 7, C+, right there.
I'm throwing a hard same down next to that.
Yeah.
Well, that was a tangent.
Anyway,
I'm gonna reel it back in a little bit. Does anyone have any more predictions before we close up shop?
I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm tapped.
Exhausted.
Yeah. Squeezed.
Roger, before we go, where can people find you?
You can find me at RogersBase on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, and on Instagram, and I will be live streaming the Microsoft, Ubisoft, Square Enix, and Nintendo conference day of. Very excited for all of that. I will also be in attendance at the Nintendo World Championships. Thanks to my friends at Nintendo. #free access by Nintendo. Really appreciate that. Can't wait to see what gets shown off there, if anything gets shown off. And I think that's it. I got a Hunter watch through coming on Tuesday. I have a live stream dropping on Tuesday as well on my YouTube channel. And I've got my very first Japan vlog going up this week as well, this upcoming week. And if you are Nintendo fans, I would definitely recommend tuning in because it's going to be a vlog relevant to your interests. So
links to Roger's socials and YouTube in the description below, so you can find those there. Logan, you can find Logan at LoggyDubs on Twitter. You can find me at Babababs on Twitter. You can find us as a collective at Breakroom Arcade. If you want to keep up with the conversation, you can join our Discord server. Link to that in the description below.
Our Discord.
Join our Discord.
If you agree with anything, whatever it is, if you want to yell at us, if you want to tell us how pretty our stream looks, do it on Discord. Or Twitter, whatever.
Let's also be real. Let's be real controversial right before we turn this off too. Cosmic Bones in the chat, you said, would an average score be 5 out of 10 though? Yeah, you're right. Red Dead Redemption 2.
There it is.
Next time.
Low, bro.
That's a hot take.
That's a mid blow. Low blow. So we will see you guys next time. Well, actually, I should mention I'll also be at E3 this year. My first time.
Nice. I will see you there.
Yes, it'll be a fun time.
I'm excited.
So look forward to all the cool stuff that'll be happening surrounding that, and hopefully what we said here comes true, because we said a lot of exciting stuff. The VOD will stay up here, so you guys can check it out. We will also get this up on all the podcast sources, so you can listen to it wherever. But with all that said, we will see you guys next time. Don't break your backs, break in the games. But for now, break time is over.